under the heavy pressures of life. Do you often have moments like these? Getting stuck in traffic on your way to work. Feeling anxious and irritable. Arriving at the office only to argue with a colleague over something trivial, then coming home. Seeing your child's toys scattered all over the floor. And instantly losing your temper, only to be filled with regret afterward. It feels as if your emotions are out of control, easily swayed by external triggers, trapping you in a cycle of frustration and exhaustion. However, there is a state of mind that allows us to transcend this passivity and truly take charge of our emotions. This is called emotional freedom. True emotional management is never about forcibly suppressing emotions or not letting them show. It is about achieving emotional freedom, being able to calmly acknowledge your feelings, not be controlled by them, and still meet your genuine needs in a healthy way. What is emotional freedom? Emotional freedom is not about indulging yourself or losing your temper whenever you want. In psychology, it refers to an individual's ability to clearly perceive, accept, and manage their emotions, both positive and negative, without being controlled by them or swayed by others' opinions. It means being able to express or handle emotions appropriately based on your needs, so that emotions serve you, rather than enslave you. It has three core components. 1. Awareness. You can clearly recognize what you are feeling in the moment, happiness, anger, grievance, or sadness, without confusion or numbness. 2. Acceptance. You don't suppress your emotions because you think anger is bad, or sadness is weakness. You can simply admit, yes, I'm angry right now, and that's normal. 3. Agency. You don't lash out uncontrollably when angry, nor do you hide your feelings out of fear of judgment. Instead, you handle emotions at your own pace and in your own way. For example, if a friend cancels dinner plans at the last minute, you can sense your disappointment, accept that it's normal to feel let down, and then calmly communicate your feelings by saying, "Next time, please let me know in advance." That's emotional freedom. You express both your feelings and your needs. Or, if your boss criticizes you unfairly, you can recognize that you feel wronged and angry. Accept that it's natural to feel upset when misunderstood, and then wait for a suitable moment to explain the situation and clarify facts. You neither argue impulsively nor silently endure, and that, too, is emotional freedom. Why do we need emotional freedom? Many people believe that as long as they don't lose their temper, they're good at managing emotions. But the value of emotional freedom goes far beyond simply not getting angry. Suppressing emotions for too long harms both body and mind. Psychological research shows that constantly repressing negative emotions such as anger or grievance leads to accumulated stress, increasing the risk of anxiety and depression. Physically, it can also cause symptoms like chest tightness, insomnia, and weakened immunity. It's like pouring dirty water into a sealed bucket. If you never clean it, it will eventually grow moldy and foul. Our body and mind work the same way. Some people endure everything in silence until they develop breast nodules. Others force themselves to hold back all sadness until they lose interest in life and are diagnosed with mild depression. Emotionally free people, however, process their emotions in time, like regularly cleaning that bucket, allowing their body and mind to remain in a healthier, more balanced state. Emotional freedom helps us recognize our true needs. Psychologist Robert pointed out that behind every emotional outburst lies an unmet need. Sadness is telling you that you long to be seen, understood, and accepted. Anger signals that your boundaries or interests may have been violated. Fear warns you to stay alert to potential threats. Depression reminds you that you are exhausted and need to rest. When you constantly suppress your emotions, you miss these signals and gradually lose touch with what you truly want. Emotionally free people, on the other hand, can use their emotions as a compass to identify their needs more clearly, understanding what I want and what I don't. For example, if you often feel irritated when working overtime, emotional freedom allows you to realize that this frustration comes from needing more personal time and not wanting meaningless overtime to take it away. You can then communicate with your supervisor to adjust your workload and reduce unnecessary overtime, instead of silently enduring and pushing yourself to the limit. Emotional freedom makes relationships more authentic. Forcing yourself to maintain emotional stability often leads people to wear masks in relationships, pretending you're fine when you're angry, putting on a happy face when you're sad. Over time, others can't understand your true thoughts, and you may feel like, no one really gets me, causing relationships to gradually drift apart. Emotionally free people, however, express their emotions and needs appropriately, letting others know who they really are and what they need. This actually makes relationships more genuine and lasting. For example, if a partner forgets an anniversary, an emotionally free person will honestly express their disappointment, letting their partner know they value their special day. If they keep pretending everything is fine, the partner may never realize their needs, and a gap forms in the relationship simply because you didn't say it, and they didn't know. True emotional stability is not endurance, but emotional freedom. We often equate emotional stability with endurance, but there's a fundamental difference between the two. Endurance-based stability is calm on the surface, turbulent inside. For example, when a colleague falsely accuses you, you might smile and say, "It's okay," while internally ruminating, "Why did they accuse me?" The more you think about it, the angrier you become. Stability through emotional freedom, on the other hand, is inner calm without overthinking. You acknowledge that it's natural to feel angry when wrongly accused, and then either find an opportunity to clarify or adopt the mindset of, the innocent have a clear conscience. Once addressed, you let it go instead of dwelling on it. Endurance-based stability often means suppressing needs and wronging yourself. For instance, you don't want to help a colleague with extra work but fear being labeled stingy. So you reluctantly agree, only to regret it afterward, thinking, "Why did I force myself again?" Stability through emotional freedom, however, is respecting your needs without forcing yourself. You explain that your own workload is heavy and you can't help at the moment, while still offering, "If there's a specific problem, we can discuss it together." You neither compromise yourself nor damage the relationship, feeling grounded and at ease. Psychologist Carl Rogers said, "True harmony is not the absence of conflict, but reconciliation after conflict. True stability is not the absence of emotion, but coherence after emotion." Endurance-based stability is like a dammed flood, it will eventually burst. Stability through emotional freedom is like a well-regulated river, emotions flow naturally, without overflowing. How to achieve emotional freedom? You don't need to rush the process, by practicing gradually in 3 steps. You can slowly find your rhythm. 1. Identify your emotional landmines when emotions arise. A landmine is the specific trigger that provokes a strong emotional reaction. It could be a sentence, an action, or even a situation. For example, you get angry every time someone says, "Why are you so picky?" You feel irritated when your child cries. You feel sad when your partner ignores you. These are your emotional landmines. When an emotion arises, don't rush to suppress it or explode. Instead, pause and ask yourself, what is causing this emotion? For instance, if a colleague critiques your proposal as too sloppy, and you instantly feel angry, reflect. Do I feel that this critique undermines my dedication to my work? By identifying the landmine, in this case, the fear that your diligence is being denied, you understand that your emotions aren't coming from nowhere, and you won't blame yourself for being too emotional. 2. When emotions arise, identify the underlying needs. After finding your landmine, the next step is to clarify, what do I need right now? For example, feeling angry after being wrongly accused by a colleague. The need might be, I want an apology and for my integrity to be recognized. Feeling upset when your child spills food. The need might be, I want my child to be more careful next time, and for my effort to be acknowledged. Feeling sad when a partner forgets an anniversary. The need might be, I want my partner to value our relationship and remember important dates. When identifying needs, focus on what you need, not what others should do. This prevents internal conflict from unmet expectations and helps you clearly recognize your core needs. 3. After identifying your needs, find healthy ways to meet them. Meeting your needs doesn't mean others must fulfill them for you, but rather, doing your best to meet them in a comfortable and healthy way. There are generally 3 approaches. Express directly and seek cooperation. For example, talk to your partner and explain why anniversaries matter to you, hoping to plan them together in the future, or give feedback to a colleague who misunderstood you. Expressing your feelings and hoping for an apology to clear things up. When you express sincerely and calmly, most people are willing to cooperate. Self-satisfy without relying on others. If others can't meet your needs, you can create your own sense of fulfillment. For instance, if your partner forgets an anniversary, buy yourself your favorite flowers or cook a meal you love. Enjoy your own company. If a colleague doesn't apologize, release your feelings by venting to a friend or writing in your journal until you naturally let it go. Adjust expectations and accept imperfection. Some needs simply can't be met right away. In that case, try to adjust your expectations. For example, you might wish your child wouldn't spill things. But considering their young age, mistakes are inevitable. Remind yourself. Give them time to grow and guide them patiently. When you stop fixating on perfect outcomes, you can handle situations with much more peace and ease. Emotional freedom is not about indulging your emotions, but about living in peace with them and managing them wisely. You no longer need to force yourself to be emotionally stable all the time. Nor should you judge yourself for having negative emotions, because anger, sadness, and grievance are all perfectly normal. True happiness is not the absence of negative emotions, but the ability to face them without fear, to accept them calmly, handle them wisely, and, through that process, understand more clearly who you are and what you truly want. This inner harmony is far more comforting and fulfilling than any forced appearance of stability. May you gradually learn to live with emotional freedom, not controlled by emotions, not bound by others' expectations, able to embrace every feeling, meet every need with kindness, and live a life that is self-aligned, peaceful, and genuinely happy. You deserve to treat yourself gently, and to live a life free from suppression and self-sacrifice.